Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different, at least for this channel. It's something new I'm trying out. I see a lot of different channels do these ranking videos. I watch a lot of them, so I figured I might as well give it a shot. Now, part of my goals for my life and the short amount of time that we have is to consume as much art as I can while I can. So watch as many movies, listen to as many albums, and play as many video games. And I think doing these ranking videos for these different publishers on these different systems will give me a nice chance to force myself to play a lot of games. So I'm really excited to see how many I can cover. I think I'm probably going to mainly, at least first, focus on the Atari 2600, Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega Genesis, because those are the consoles that I have the most nostalgia for. But I'll probably eventually branch out to doing other rankings for other systems. So first up, we're going to be taking a look at all 4 games from the publisher Absolute Entertainment. Now, Absolute Entertainment is an offshoot of Activision. Some of the people from Activision left and formed Absolute, just like Activision was formed by some of the people from Atari deciding to leave and creating Activision. I also like the fact that they decided to call it Absolute, because part of the reasoning behind calling Activision is that it was alphabetically above Atari, and therefore they would be listed above Atari. So Absolute did the same thing when they left, and now they were alphabetically before Activision. I think that's cool. And of course we all know about Atari being founded by the world famous accomplished musician Kevin Bacon. Remember, all roads lead to bacon. Alright, most of what I said just now was true. Maybe not all of it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and rank all 4 games published by Absolute Entertainment for the Atari 2600. I will be doing this alphabetically. So first up, we have Pete Rose Baseball from 1988. So it's a sports ball game. At first, when I thought about doing these rankings, I kind of assumed that I would just probably give a lot of the sports games C's, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm not that experienced with the genre or sports at all. But I decided not to do that for this because I think I got a pretty good feel for how the game plays. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong and if it's a much better game than I thought. So first off, I want to say that the graphics are amazing for an Atari game. Like, look at these graphics. Look at these huge sprites for the baseball players. It looks really good. The sound design, there's a lot to like, but that crowd noise gets very grating very fast. But one of the most frustrating things for me about this game was how, when you're in the outfield, your players are limited to, a little section of the screen. So when you're controlling one player, you can only move from a certain point to a certain point. So there'd be a lot of times where I'd be trying to get a ball, and the ball would be just out of my reach. I wouldn't be able to go past this invisible wall to pick up the ball. And then I had to figure out really quickly, as fast as I could, which player was able to get that ball. Again, this might be a me problem. I'm just not very good at these kinds of games, but I found that pretty frustrating. And just overall, I think that this game is a little slow and tedious. It just seems to take so long to do everything. And the different views of the field gets confusing for me. There's different ways that the field is shown from different angles. Again, I am not a big sports ball expert. This is not really my realm. But all of that said, I think I'm comfortable in saying that I'm going to give Pete Rose Baseball a D. Let me know if I'm wrong. Up next, we have Skateboarding, a radical adventure which was released in 1987. So this game has music, and it's really rockin' for the Atari 2600. It's some of the most impressive music I've heard in a game for the system. I will say that this game is just surprisingly good for an 8-bit skateboarding game. I'm not usually a fan of many skateboarding games before, the PlayStation era, like Tony Hawk and all that, but this game, it controls pretty well. It looks really nice. The graphics on this are really nice too, and I had a lot of fun with it. I was expecting to absolutely hate this game, but it was a lot of fun. Now, even though the controls for the most part I think feel pretty good, It is really hard to duck into these pipes. You have to like be in the perfect right position. Like you have to have it lined up 100% to make it through these pipes. And that can be a little frustrating, but overall I think it controls quite well. Now the game goes that you are given so many tricks that you've got to fulfill in the time limit, and then you have to make it back to the school steps in order to like win the game. I haven't been able to do that yet. I need to spend more time with it. It's not a very complex game. I don't necessarily know that it's going to have a lot of replay value once I complete that. But I was really impressed with how fun this game actually was. I enjoyed this a lot, and it's definitely one I am going to come back to, at least until I'm able to do all of the tricks that I need to do in order to beat the game. So with all that said, I did have some trouble deciding exactly what I wanted to rank this. I almost went to an A, but I think because of the lack of replay value, I assume I'll feel after I actually complete the objectives, and compared to other games on the system, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I want to decide how I'm going to rank things, but after a lot of thought, I've decided I'm going to rate this as a B. I don't think it's quite good enough to be an A, like I said, because of the low replay value, but it's a really solid game. I think, especially if you're not big into the 8-bit skateboarding games and you've never really enjoyed one, I recommend checking this out. It's impressive for how fun this is. So I think I'm pretty confident in giving this a B. Up next, we have Title Match Pro Wrestling from 1987. This is another one that has really great graphics. Like, look at this. These wrestlers look awesome. It's got a lot of charm and personality. It's got pretty good use of music and sound, but like Pete Rose Baseball, that crowd noise just gets really irritating after a while. It just started kind of giving me a headache. The biggest problem with this is it's just really hard to pull off the moves. You know, when you only have one button and your moves are reliant on moving the joystick in a certain direction or not pushing the joystick while you push the button, all the different combinations, it just makes it really difficult to do exactly what it is that you're trying to do. And I think that was the biggest downfall of this game. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. It's just kind of frustrating because I'm not able to do the things that I think I should be able to do. I teetered between D and C for a while before I made my decision. It's probably more deserving of a D, but there's just something about it that, like I said, there's just something really charming I find about this game. So I've decided to go ahead and rank Title Match Pro Wrestling as a C. And our last game, published by Absolute, is Tomcat, the F-14 Fighter Simulator from 1988. Now I'm going to say, going into this, I expected to rate this as an F. I've never been a fan of flight simulator games. I don't really understand them. They take a lot of work to figure out, to be successful at, and I'm lazy. So when I first loaded it up and started playing, every time I took off, I would die immediately. I did this like at least a half a dozen times. And then I was like, you know what? I should probably just look up the manual, try to figure out kind of what I'm doing, just so at least I can get some gameplay footage and give a more fair assessment instead of just saying that it was an F because I couldn't get anywhere. And after I looked up the manual and learned how to play a little bit, I actually started to enjoy it. It was a really enjoyable experience for me to just figure out what I was doing wrong and to learn what I was supposed to be doing. I, dare I say it, started having fun. I've just never given a flight simulator enough time. Like, I've never really tried to learn how to play it. I've just always given up. So the fact that I started to enjoy this, and it felt like an accomplishment when I was able to take off and fly without blowing up, it was a really good feeling. I ended up having a really good time. Again, As with the other Absolute games, the graphics in this are really good for the Atari. I think this game looks better than some of the flight simulators on the NES and the Genesis, quite frankly. And something I also really like about this game, it has really clever use of the difficulty switches. The different difficulty switches raises and lowers the landing gear and arresting hook, and I think that's a really smart, cool use for that. But also, like a lot of the other Absolute games, the engine noise is kind of cool, it fits, but after a while, just like with Pete Rose and with wrestling, it just gets kind of grating and annoying after a while. So this wasn't the F that I expected, and I think I have more of an appreciation for flight simulator games, and I'm probably going to come back to this and see if I can do a little bit better. Like, I wasn't able to successfully kill anybody in my time in this. I was able to evade enemies a few times, but I was never able to like be successful in shooting someone down. But I think this is one I'm going to come back to and try to see if I can go through like the whole day until my fuel runs out. And I guess like it turns to nighttime and you have to land, and that's what I understand from reading in my research about this is the hardest part, and I'd like to be able to successfully land. I think that'd be a really good feeling. So it is kind of hard for me to rate this. I would say that still, because there's that big difficulty curve, and you know, it's hard for me to get 100% into what I'm doing because I'm still having a hard time understanding exactly what I am supposed to do. I think I'm going to safely rank this, at least for now. Maybe I'll come back and change this, but for now, I think I'm going to rate Tomcat, the F-14's fighter simulator, as a C, which is much, much better than I ever expected. So there we go. All 4 games published by Absolute Entertainment for the Atari 2600. Let me know what you think of my ranking. Let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know where you would rank these games. Make your own ranking and share it with me. I'd love to know where you guys place these games. I had a lot of fun making this video. I had a lot of fun learning about Absolute Entertainment. I think it's neat how Atari begat Activision and Activision begat Absolute. Love video game history. It's very cool. I'm excited to do more of these ranking videos for you guys in the future. Eventually I'll do an Absolute ranking for NES, because I believe one of the games that they published is A Boy and His Blob, which is a game that I haven't really spent much time with, so I'm very excited to finally try that out. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.